Hey Esty, think about the last client who booked you. Do you know how they found you? If so, where? And do you know why they chose you over a different competitor? A lot of estheticians are operating under one of two assumptions. One, all of their clients find them through Instagram. Or two, all of their clients find them through direct referrals. And for a lot of us, those tend to be the only two channels that we tend to be thinking about when we think about our marketing. But it's not always that clean of a path for clients to get on your calendar. A lot of times they're looking for you in multiple places before they hit book. Maybe they did hear about you from a friend, but as soon as they heard your business name, they went to Google you. And maybe they did find your reel on Instagram. But as soon as they decided you were someone who was worth looking into, they probably started scouring and checking for reviews. A lot of potential clients are doing a full background check on your business before they decide whether to book with you or not. And a lot of times it's happening without you even knowing. And if your visibility only works in one place, then you're only getting a fraction of potential clients looking at you compared to what can be possible if you have multiple pieces of visibility working at the same time. So today we're going to be going over how to get seen as an esthetician and how to show up in the places that actually count and drive bookings. By the end of this episode, you are going to understand the difference between controllable versus uncontrollable visibility and understand the real path that clients take from discovery to genuinely being ready to book. Because awareness and visibility shouldn't feel like a bunch of random bits of just showing up everywhere. It should be really intentional so that your business is easier to find, easier to book, and honestly, just easier to trust. So let's get you booked up. Booked up. Welcome to GlamTech Marketing's Booked Up Esthetician Podcast, where estheticians can find marketing strategies that actually work for their business. I'm Faith. I'm a licensed esthetician with a master's degree in digital marketing and over 7 years of helping fellow estheticians and beauty businesses grow and scale their marketing efforts. If you are a licensed esthetician or a beauty professional looking to build something bigger than a booking link, then you're here. Welcome in, and thank you for joining me. Let's talk about why so many estheticians feel completely invisible even though they are showing up consistently. I feel like it happens all the time, right? Like we have a decent month, new clients come in, maybe our star client throws some people from her mommy circle our way, and we see some growth and some good revenue. But then the next month is quieter and we can't really pinpoint what exactly changed. And the really frustrating part is that we're still posting, we're still showing up every day, but there are gaps in our calendar just staring at us. And inconsistency can sometimes feel like the kiss of death for a business, especially like any type of small business, because you're sitting there looking at the gaps in your calendar and it doesn't just affect your business from like a finance bro accountant standpoint, but it also starts to personally affect you, especially whenever you're solo. And I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but whenever there is gaps in our calendars and we're putting in a lot of effort, like we're posting, we're trying to be visible, sometimes we feel like it's like us or our content's not good enough, we aren't good enough, there's something wrong with us. On the flip side, if you're not super self-deprecating, I love that for you, you might also feel like the market is too saturated or your competitors are too harsh or like, big guns coming your way. So the market can sometimes feel really saturated, and that's why you're having gaps in your calendar. And I want to push back a little bit. If you are someone who is kind of in an inconsistency cycle and you feel like it might be the market that you're in, or you as a person just aren't made out for this, it's probably not a you problem or a saturation in terms of like a marketing problem. I would almost bet that you are putting all of your marketing efforts in terms of visibility into channels that you can't control. Because Instagram and referrals tend to be the two channels of visibility or awareness that we as estheticians have ingrained in us from the day that we show up to aesthetic school. But we can't control Instagram, and we can't control the way that it pushes out content or who it pushes out content to. And then the same thing with referrals. If you are anything like me, you are ingrained that referrals, direct referrals is how you build your business, and then you never have to worry about new clients ever again. And I think that's beautiful in theory. However, We have zero control over the conversations that our clients are having with their friends and family. And while you can do things to push the Instagram algorithm in your favor or give your star clients upgrades to their facial or their services for referring clients to you, those genuinely are two paths of visibility that we have very little control over, and you just can't force it. Awareness today is not one channel. It is a chain link of multiple channels casting a wider net on your location area to try and find the most ideal clients for you based on people who might be interested in what you offer. I like to call this modern word of mouth because whenever we're in esthetician school and maybe your first job at like a day spa or even a med spa potentially, they tell you, oh, word of mouth, that's how you build your books. Like my aesthetic instructor had us write little makeshift business cards and hand them out to every single person that we had serviced. And she wouldn't let us stop even if it was like our last week of school. So I was literally handing out these business cards, knowing good and well that I would not be at this school next week because I was going to go test out. But that's how ingrained it is in our industry. It's not bad advice, but I do think it's an old school, kind of old-fashioned way of thinking that referrals are going to be your bread and butter, and you never have to worry about anything else as long as you can get referrals. So modern word of mouth takes the referrals, but knows that it doesn't stop there. Because when someone hears your name, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to go online. They're still going to look at reviews or your Instagram or your website, even if you get a direct referral, because in today's day and age, research is not just a bonus step of the discovery process. It is a key part of the discovery process. So what are these other touch points that can play into referrals and Instagram to really cast that net so you're touching anyone who's potentially interested in a service that you provide? I'm so glad you asked. Let's get into it. There are 5 main ways that potential clients are going in and finding and choosing their estheticians right now. First is social, next is search, reviews, referrals, and website. All 5. They each play a different role, but they all need to work together, and they all, again, chain link to create a wide net that you can cast on your pool of potential clients and guide them through the booking process. You do not need all 5 of these perfected, but you do need multiple of these working together in tandem so that you can build trust to your clients and have more people find you. First is search, and what most people will just call Google because it's what most people use. And Google is where people go whenever they have something called active intent. And active intent means they're not just passively scrolling, they are more ready to book than most other people in the discovery phase. Typically, when someone is on Google, they are ready to research or solve that problem of what they're experiencing. So whether it's hairy eyebrows and they need an eyebrow wax, or they're suffering from chronic acne, those are problems that they're going to go to Google to solve. And when someone goes to Google to solve a problem or research something, they are a little bit more ready to buy, or a little bit more ready to book rather, than someone who's just scrolling on Instagram, because they're ready to solve that problem. So if you're not showing up on Google within the first page, I'll give you maybe 2 pages, but really the first page, you are really missing out on those clients that are ready to solve that problem right then. Next is social, and it's one of the most talked about avenues for awareness, but it is also the one that requires the most effort. So I'm talking about Instagram, TikTok, maybe Facebook, potentially Pinterest if you have like e-commerce. But I feel like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are the bread and butter. And social is a great place to build personality and make connections and start that interest phase. And social is slightly overrated whenever it comes to any other phase of the booking path other than visibility, because again, it is more about sparking interest and conversation and connection than actually getting someone to book. If you're an esthetician and your visibility is primarily on social media and you're struggling on getting new bookings, just know that you're not alone. And actually, after being in the trenches of corporate marketing for a bit, I can tell you that a lot of larger businesses do not value organic social media, which basically means you're not putting money behind the posts that you're posting. So organic social media for larger businesses is used as a connection point. And it's less about getting revenue than getting just people interested in your product. And if these large businesses want to make money from social, then they do social media ads, which I can make a whole episode about. But if you don't have the luxury, like a lot of people running their small business, to put money behind your social media posts and do it in the way that is strategic and intentional, then you are probably just going to rely on social to build that connection, and hopefully you will get some passive bookings. I'm not here to tell you that you will never get bookings on social media because it's just not true, but using social media as your main visibility point to drive people to book with you is a huge gamble. Okay, next point of visibility are referrals. And I know there is somebody in this industry that has talked your ear off about referrals, so I will keep it short. However, referrals are your trust accelerators. Your instructor in beauty school was not lying about how valuable referrals are, because if the person that is your client does make that referral and the person that they're referring does book you from that referral, then you're golden. You basically just spent the cost of a business card on a brand new client, or even less, because the client that was referring was the person who just paid you for a service. So overall, referrals really are a golden star whenever it comes to visibility and awareness. But if you thought that social media was a gamble, referrals can also be a heavy gamble. And the last thing that you want to do is every time your loyal client shows up, you're like, oh, hey, did you give the book club my business card yet? Or, oh, I never heard from your bestie who also gets her brows done from another esthetician in town. So you should really get on that, okay? That's uncomfortable for everyone involved, and that's the last thing we want to be doing. But from referrals, if somebody hears your name from someone that they trust, your credibility bar is locked in. Unless another piece of your booking process is dramatically broken, you probably will get that referral if the conversation happened, because they trust you. But let's not pretend there's not other factors that can prevent a referral from actually happening and manifesting into a new client. Because let's be real, our clients are not carrying our business cards around everywhere they go. And if they do, on the off chance, they probably only have one and might give it to one person. And that will only work for one referral. What if they have like 3 people to refer? The reality of referrals now is more like a conversation of, hey, your eyebrows look amazing. Oh, thank you. I'm going to this new brow waxer and I really love her. She goes by Kate Does Brows. Okay. Kate Does Brows. I'm calling you out today. I hope you're ready. But yes, so she mentions you in passing, and that's great. That's great visibility. But now her friend is going to try and Google you or look you up on Instagram. And can she find you? If she can't, do you know what she'll probably find instead? 5 brow waxers who are ready to book her on the first page of Google. So moral of the story with referrals, I know I said that I'd keep it short, but be visible on other channels. Even if you're depending on referrals, you still need to be visible on the off chance that they need to find you in a different way. Moving on to the 4th avenue of visibility and awareness, and that is reviews. Reviews show real client experiences and are also very valuable in bringing in trust and solidifying that they want to be your client instead of doubting what their experience will be like. It's enormously powerful in bridging that gap between considering getting a service done and being very committed that you are going to book this service right this moment. There are a lot of different places to house your reviews, but I like Google the best because Google is the primary search engine that people use. And whenever you have a lot of reviews, I like to aim for 25 to start at least. But once you have a good amount of reviews that are high quality and high stars, Google will start to boost your website, boost your map placement because they know that you're a credible business. You can also house them in other places like your booking link or your website, but I just feel like with Google, it's like multi-purpose programming because it boosts you all around. Also, photo reviews are very impactful both for the client experience and Google's like expectations of you as a business, because photos can tell you what the end result will look like. So definitely encourage your clients to be posting reviews if they had a good experience. And especially if you're in something like brow waxing, makeup, or even like that post-facial glow. I mean, who doesn't want to show that off? Those are all great ways to boost your reviews and ultimately boost your search as well. Okay. Last one is your website, which can be your closer, but can also be a very viable visibility point for new clients. Honestly, every visibility channel points to it at some point, but if your website has good SEO, then it can operate as a visibility channel the same way that it can operate as a consideration and conversion channel as well. And basically, SEO is a bunch of keywords put together in a way that signals to Google and other search engines that you are a serious business and you do something very specific like eyebrow waxing in a very specific place like Denver, Colorado. Having good SEO on your website will boost your website to the top of search, but having a good strategic website whenever they click into it is what is ultimately going to build trust with that new potential client. A strong website can confirm a lot of confidence, but a weak website can undo pretty much every other visibility channel that you have. Okay, so that's the 5 visibility points in the awareness stage of the booking path, and you don't have to have all 5. But I would recommend showing up strong in at least 3 of the 5 areas. Because we've probably heard before that it takes more than one touch point for someone to be confident enough to book with you. And repetition builds confidence. So they might see you on Instagram and then see you on search. Or they might see your website and then get a referral from you later. That's how modern word of mouth works. And we live in such a digitally saturated world. We do need to be showing up in multiple places. But the good thing about that is a lot of these visibility points don't need our constant attention. So if you are in a cycle of inconsistency and you're looking at gaps in your calendar, just know that some fragility might be because you're putting too much weight on one channel or visibility point. And be sure to identify which channels you can control more than others. Because if your visibility is tied to Instagram, then it's also tied to Instagram's algorithm. And that algorithm has never once cared about your booking schedule. So I'm going to give you my controllable versus uncontrollable awareness split, okay? Client referrals, social media algorithms, and friends and family that share your business out of the goodness of their heart, that is largely uncontrollable and out of your hands. Your Google business profile, you can largely control. Your website, totally in your hands. Your reviews are mostly in your hands. There might be 1 or 2 like one-offs that could be slightly problematic, but if you're mostly giving a very high quality service, then you will be receiving high quality reviews. For social, the real controllable is profile clarity and making sure that people, whenever they get to your profile, understand who you are and what you do. That's really one of the few controllables for social. And then the kind of background visibility is brand consistency, and that is completely in your hands. So I always want you to walk away with something actionable. And today's challenge is whenever you have a moment, instead of scrolling through Instagram, to do this instead. List everywhere that your business is present in, either digitally, traditionally, like if you have magazine ads or something like that. And then look at each of those pieces as if you are an esthetician looking at their competitor. Because we're experts whenever we're looking at other people's businesses. We can look at the competitor and be like, oh, they're doing this really well. Or we can look at their Google business profile and be like, oh, they don't have enough reviews. Or look, they have 2 really low reviews. That's not good. Go do that with each of your 5 pieces of visibility: social, search, reviews, referrals, and your website. Specifically, the SEO piece of your website. And don't be self-deprecating, but don't look at it from your point of view or even your client's point of view, because we romanticize our clients' viewpoints a little bit, but we don't really romanticize our competitors or how the competitors view us. So go approach your business like you are another esthetician or another spa in the area, taking a look at where their competition ranks up. So across those 5 channels, rate each one from 1 to 5 and see where you're performing and where you can do a couple fixes to make the visibility points a little stronger. And remember, the visibility points, it's part of the sales process and it's doing work for you. You don't have to sit around and individually pitch to every single person who wants to be a prospective client. So you want your visibility points working so that you can let it speak for you and your services. And the goal with marketing is never to just do more. The goal is to be easier to find, easier to trust, and easier to book. And if you want a structured way to find all of your potential leaks in your booking process, go ahead and download my Booked Up Esthetician Marketing Audit, which is free. It walks you through your visibility points and more so that you can see where in the booking process there are some leaks or what you need to work on first. The link is in the show notes or the description, depending on where you're watching. Thank you so much for joining me for Glam Tech Marketing's Booked Up Esthetician Podcast. I'm Faith Rodriguez. I'm a licensed esthetician and the founder of Glam Tech Marketing. New episodes drop every Tuesday with fresh marketing strategies. If you found something valuable in this episode, please go ahead and give it a review or a comment, depending on where you're listening, and send it to one esthetician who could also benefit from hearing today's fresh strategy. Thanks, Esty. I hope you have a great week ahead. Go kill it.